Here we are.
All right,
The
Carl.
red light is blinking, brother. That means we're on and we're
This is
recording.
awesome. Fantastic. It's good to see you.
Hey, you too, man. It's been way too long, but I'm glad we're here talking now. And I have been. So I'll say hello, folks. First of all, hi. How is everybody doing? And whatever platform you're on, whether it's SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, or whatever. Thanks for tuning in. Always coming at you with the intention of bringing some information that we hope that you find useful, helpful, because we're all about helping other people. They come first.
Yeah.
And
All right.
so my guest today comes from the very same mindset and intentions. Somebody I've known for a few years now, although I haven't seen you in so long, man. Maybe
Yeah.
this year at Optima, if they have one.
Yeah. That'll be the question.
So my guest has been involved in the health and fitness industry for over 3 decades. And I remember when this happened, brother. Congratulations. You received your master's degree in exercise science, health promotion, and wellness coaching from Cal U of Pennsylvania. So
Alumni.
that's
Yeah.
fantastic, man, because that's a big achievement.
Thank you.
Undergrad came from Bellevue University, and that degree is in health and human performance. My guest is also currently a professor teaching courses in motor learning, strength and conditioning, exercise physiology, anatomy, kinesiology, and wellness, and also teaches at Methodist College as an adjunct in physical therapy assistant program, the master trainer with the National Academy of Sports Medicine, and this is really cool too, is also board for certified health and wellness coach, and one of the founders of TrainerEDU, which you definitely want to talk about that during our talk today.
Yeah.
This is a company that has a goal of bridging the gap between certification and application. So I want to introduce my friend and my special guest, James Westphal. How you doing, brother?
Hey, it's great to be able to make this connection. Like you said, it's been far too long.
Yeah.
It was nice to kind of have a little chit chat shortly before this, but it's just nice to be able to talk and catch up. And it's nice, you know, who your true friends are, because you're able to be separated for years and come back together like nothing's ever changed. So it's fantastic.
Well, it is. It's interesting how that goes. And it's almost like, no time went by necessarily. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting. We were in touch before we actually met, probably Facebook, and started following you. And then we met at an Optima conference in Arizona. And I'll never forget that. It's like, there he is.
Yeah, it was
We're
crazy.
always communicating, and there he is. That's James. Cool.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah. Well, and before we get started too far, you know, I want to thank you from the trainer community, from all of us that are working on all your work on Parkinson's regeneration. It has been a game changer. It has been a lot of things that have not been available. And with our aging populations and the things we're facing, we're in the game to help people first.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you and congratulations on everything you've done with that.
Well, coming from you, that means a lot, man.
No problems, man.
And I am actually a fairly emotional guy, so I could have just gotten teary and you might not have known that, but I did. And that's because it means a lot. And it means a lot because you see, well, we're like kindred spirits here,
Yeah.
brothers from another mother or whatever. Your intentions, how you work with people, we have the same goals, and we want to help people. I want to help people. So through the education, and it's an integrated thing. And what I love about the workshops, and I don't want to talk about this too long, this is your platform today, but what's really cool is when we have trainers, physios, osteos, and then people with Parkinson's, caregivers, all in the same place. It's a really cool learning experience. And what we love the best gratification, I remember playing in bands, because I was a musician, 35 years, 35,000 people. No, that's a lie. 30,000 people was the largest crowd. It was a rush.
And this man can play. This man can play.
It was a rush. Literally, it was a total rush. But then you leave, and you're like, okay, it's done. Well, I'll tell you what's like infinitely better rush is watching somebody move better who went from feeling defeated to hopeful.
Right.
That has a lasting effect.
That hits home. I mean, with the work I've done with the seniors just in this last year,
Yep.
there is no better group that is better to help move better. You know, they're afraid to get down on the ground, and
Yes.
you're able to, within a period of time, they're getting up and down off of the ground to do workouts, and the smile and the self-efficacy that happens within them of being able to do something that's the reward in itself. I mean, really, I think for most of us as trainers and healthcare professionals, if we didn't have to be paid, if we could work and make our living from just helping people and everything came at us, I think we'd be happy with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's interesting. You brought up a really good point. A lot of elderly are afraid to get on the ground. I have a workout, I have a name for it. It's called "The Floor is Our Friend."
Nice.
The good news is if you fall down and you didn't get hurt, you're already down. Beautiful.
Right.
Let's take advantage of it, but let's learn how not to fall. And then if you want to get down or you do fall, let's learn how to navigate back to safety. And you know, it's usually pretty simple. It's just leveraging a certain way, moving a certain way, and it's not rocket science. I just didn't think of it.
I found a lot of the clients I was working with this last year, it was a mobility issue over some of the strength. In other words,
Yeah.
their quads were so tight they could not get a full bend of the leg to get their foot underneath them to get their
Yes.
center of gravity forward to stay forward, or their posture, they had such bad anterior pelvic tilt, or they had such rounded shoulders that, again, it interfered with their mobility to where they couldn't get in a proper position to leverage themselves.
Yeah.
And so we worked a lot with that on mobility, but gosh, we could go around about that all day long. That's
what I love about
it's exciting stuff, man.
I have a feeling this just might be part one of a conversation with James Westphal, because I think it is part one. We'll see what we get through today. No, this is cool, man. So actually that kind of is a good segue into a first question I wanted to ask you. And I've been following you, but I want you to tell me and tell our watchers and listeners, what are you doing in the industry right now? What's your focus?
Well, my main focus right now is TrainerEDU. Alex Van Houten, Chris Vanderslice, and myself founded a company called TrainerEDU. And what we're doing is we found that the professionals in the industry, you know, it was something to get certified, but certification always doesn't equal application in many aspects. We have a lot of new trainers coming in that they're newly certified. They've got all this knowledge base, but they're not quite sure how to apply it. They're nervous. Also, some trainers that are in the middle, or even advanced trainers that still have questions. And there, as I always like to say, there are no stupid questions, and pride often gets in the way sometimes of people asking for help. Yeah. And so we've created a space, both online and with Facebook, that is a non-judgmental zone that anybody can get on for free and ask questions of a large community of professionals that have a lot of knowledge in the industry. Between Alex Van Houten, myself, and Chris Vanderslice, we've got, you know, over, I think, 60 years of plus of experience in the field. Yeah. Alex, a great friend, he also owns a company called Defining Dad Bod. Hugely successful. Big shout out. Chris Vanderslice has Slice PT up in New York. Alex is down in Arkansas right now. And you know, it's really bridging all of our strengths together to help people move. And we also offer some online courses. So I wrote a course on behavior change based around my board certification on health and wellness coaching. Alex wrote a program based around metabolic testing, ergospirometry through breath analyzation, VO2 and VCO2 gas exchange. So a lot of really cool content. There's a lot more coming. We're doing some strength and conditioning courses. We're going to do some prep classes. things like that are available online. And hopefully we'll possibly get some Parkinson's regeneration content on there. That would be awesome. And, just provide trainers with a safe place to go to ask questions and to become more informed and get a little more comfortable in their skin on helping other people.
Well, I really like that. And there's a little story I want to share. I can't remember what year I got certified. I just remember I took till the very last day to study the NASM CPT manual before it would run out. You had 6 months.
Sure.
So literally, I could take the exam on the last day available because admittedly, I don't read well. I've always had trouble reading. And I've gotten better, and I'm a very slow learner. It's just horrible sometimes. But once I got it, watch out, right? So I go in to take the test. I passed. I was like, oh my gosh, I cried, of course, because that's what I do. It was 6 months before I got in front of a person because I was scared to death. Now, this is nothing against NASM, nothing at all. It was the best preparation I could have had to be certified, but I needed more. I needed that bridging that gap. And the funniest thing, though, the real funny part of the story is the gym that I was a member of for literally like 30 years. I just, oddly enough, stopped being a member last fall because I work at the university, and now that's closed. Of course, all the gyms are closed. But anyways, they said, okay, you can train here. So, you sign an agreement and all that stuff. The first client, about a half an hour before, well, all day before, I wanted to call and cancel because I was scared to death. What am I going to do with another human?
Right.
Half an hour before, she calls me up and she says, I can't make it. And I'm like, yes. I mean, I feel guilty too, but in kind of, a little bit like, well, what'd you do this for? Once I finally got in front of somebody about a week or two later, I was okay. I mean, it was tough. But this here, what you offer, this is something I think is very, very much, very valuable, very much needed too.
Well, we're also wanting to do it's nice because we have such a vast array of professionals nationwide. There's even an opportunity sometimes for mentorships. Yeah. So they can actually work with somebody, and to be a mentorship with TrainerEDU, I mean, it has some requirements, but we know that if we're going to send you someplace and recommend somebody for a mentorship, they're knowledgeable and they have a good base of what they're doing. And we try to make it so you're not going to work with a bunch of people that have some really bad habits, or you're not in a box gym just working on sales.
Right. Yeah, which actually we were talking before we started the recording about I don't want to make anybody upset. This is not about that. But when it comes to the general mentality of many of the gyms out there, there is a money first kind of thing. And it would depend upon the trainer who you're paired up with as to whether you get, whether a trainer who's actually really looking out for you first or not, and I was talking with somebody recently. I think it might have been, I don't know, but people first, man.
Yeah.
Got to help the people first.
That's that is another similar mindset that my partners and I have, as you and I have, is people first. The money will come if you're taking care of your clients, and you're providing a positive change, and those things are something that can be seen and measured. I see so many trainers fall into the trap of they just train people, or they have the guru approach. There's only one way to train people, and they're not training people as individualized training programs because, as you know, we're all different in our DNA. We're all different in how we learn, how we move. And so it takes really an individualized approach. There's no, cookie cutter methods. You see, all these programs on, and not all of them, but a good majority of the programs that are on YouTube and Facebook and the things, they are a cookie cutter program. They're not taking an individualized approach. Now, in defense of those things, a lot of them are just trying to get to the masses, and they're trying to get people moving. I'm 100% on board with avoiding the couch potato effect. uh, for lack of a better term. But at the same time, I think it's really important that behavior change is where I really like to reside, because as you know, we can tell people what to do all day long, but if they don't do it, it has no effect.
Yeah, compliancy is a big thing, and having the ability to communicate the value of or the importance of whatever, having them actually do some things. That's an art within in itself. I don't know. I just find if they do things they like to do, they're more likely to do them. And then if you can break it down and also show them that some things really that it can be so easy to do certain things and not in a traditional workout setting. You know, you can be working on balance while you're washing the dishes or brushing your teeth, stand on one leg, or just a real simple example.
Exactly, and it's also been found in indicated in research that if it's their idea, they're more likely to follow through than somebody telling them, hey, you've got to do 15 push-ups this morning, followed by 20 sit-ups, by 100 burpees, whatever crazy routine it might be.
Yeah.
If you set them up with a plan, it's that whole thing where we're setting up a road trip, we're going to go somewhere, but we don't have any plan or route to get to where we're going. And we didn't even check the fuel tank before we left. We've already failed before we left on the trip.
There you go. Yeah, that's a great analogy. So let's so TrainerEDU is one of the things you're doing in right now in the industry. What else is going on for you?
Well, I just spent a year working in a senior fitness facility as a wellness coordinator, and really wrote all the cognitive care and fitness programs for the seniors, as well as running all the employee wellness. That was a great opportunity. I've had the opportunity to work with occupational therapists and physical therapists within Children's Hospital, and do some time with them. It's been nice to work with Methodist College. I'm learning a lot from the professors there within the physical therapy assistant program.
Yeah.
Was able to work some labs. Was just had the privilege of being asked to be on their board of advisors here recently, which is nice.
Nice.
So I really have enjoyed the teaching aspect. On a personal note, my boys are getting bigger. I'm getting grayer. The wife's doing phenomenal. She's kind of frontline. She's in head of central supply chain management at Children's Hospital.
Oh,
so
wow.
you can imagine that's been kind of nuts with the COVID-19 crisis. But it's been kind of a nice time to be at home because they've closed the wellness center, and I'm getting back more into my training regimen and working with people on an individual level on wellness coaching, and helping people through behavior change, and having the time to spend with my boys. We've been working on the garden and putting raised beds in, and just getting some quality time with family right now has been really nice.
It's interesting. I was traveling so much. It really did a number on me. And then I only did, after the Singapore trip last year when I got back in June, I only did 2 small trips. I drove to Columbus and I drove to Toronto and taught, but last fall. But being home has been so cool. My wife retired last year, and she's home, and she's actually really busy right now. She's volunteering and doing stuff, and but the gardening, this is my new thing, man. I chopped down a tree the other day too, and I'm like, I had a couple of people here helping. I'm like, well, load it in the cart, and then we'll take it over. No, I'm carrying every log over that I chop because I need the workout, right? But I moved the whole truckload of topsoil the other day. It took 3 hours. But man, and plus we just got time to hang out outside, which is always good. I mean, being outside to me is the best. Working out outside if I can. And for me, this gardening stuff and yard work stuff has been a great workout. I really enjoy it.
Hey, get your hands in there, get it dirty, get some of that bacteria in your system, build up your natural immunity.
I'll tell you, hope you don't mind, but I'm going to tell you, there's a gentleman I know who's a neuropsychiatry professor at Harvard Medical School. It's this guy, John Rady. We talked about him before a little bit.
Nice.
A lot of nice books talking about, and this one he talks about, Go Wild. For those who are listening, I just held up a book on the screen. It's called Go Wild. If you've listened to me on other things, you've probably heard about it there too, but it talks about, the benefits of being outside to the, not only the immune system, but even your IQ and brain health. And it's just like, when I heard about that, I had to be outside as much as possible.
I think that there's a lot of validity to that because we're all so immersed in such a busy tech environment. We're bombarded with radio waves and audio and video, and the effects of blue light are coming to play now. And I think getting outside. I know for me, I sit up in a tree stand in the wintertime for archery, for deer hunting.
Cool.
Regardless whether I get a deer or not, that time in that tree stand in the morning is magical.
Yeah.
It's the fresh air, the cold, crisp air, the sunrise. It's just from a mental aspect and from a spiritual aspect, it's very calming. And if I don't get my tree time, I notice I'm a little edgy. So.
Well, it's an area that I'm actually currently, a couple of things I'm really focusing on, but the benefits of music to the brain. Okay, so here's another book called Your Brain on Music. This is Your Brain on Music. Oliver Sacks also did a beautiful book called Musicophilia. This guy, Daniel J. Levinson, is a total badass bass player, but he's also a neuroscientist. He's
Nice.
a neuroscientist also, and he's written some great books, but the idea of the therapy that music can provide and being outdoors, nature can provide it's actually huge. And while COVID is not a good thing, I'm not happy that it exists. We're really seeing some things. I'm seeing some things. A lot of people are taking a step back, and this is a reset time for me and a lot of people, and I'm actually really enjoying it. Slow down.
I think as we move forward, that's going to really affect our industry.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, why don't we go right to that question? I want to come back to another question, but how do you think that COVID-19 is going to affect the industry, our industry of training?
I think it already has. I think people are finding a unique convenience in not going to the gym. Now, I won't say that will end because some people really like that social interaction at the gym. However, it will change the way some people view their time. And I think for moving forward, people are always going to want to have an online presence or an online plan moving forward as a trainer. I also think it's going to change the way trainers look at their client base and their offerings. It's going to really, I think, change how I think people will be more prepared the next time around, because it's really not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Most of the professionals are saying, this is going to be just like the flu, as far as we're going to get hit with another wave in 6 months because of the change in temperature and atmosphere, making it ideal for the virus to proliferate, et cetera. So I think being prepared now and developing that base, because I think a lot of the smaller, and not just the smaller, but the larger bases that had like Planet Fitness and companies like that, found out that their base crashed. A lot of people were canceling memberships and leaving. And I think that's a great opportunity for some of the smaller boutiques or some of the smaller training facilities to capitalize on, because I really think they can do the 5 to 10 person classes with proper social distancing and still keep people engaged while keeping their facilities safe. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I keep going back to John Rady, but he said in an interview 2 weeks ago, I'm talking with him again next week too about something else, but he was talking about his exact words were, "This is here to stay, and the brothers and sisters of COVID are coming down the pike." And just what you said, James, it's going to be like the flu, different strains, different vaccines. Vaccines will change over time. One vaccine might not prevent it because you get a different strain of COVID. And, so it's something to be mindful of. And I think what you just said is really powerful, probably being somewhat of a hybrid model of training, but some people are going to want the live experience, whether it's one-on-one or small groups with social distancing, physical distancing.
Well, and as the research comes out, they're finding that people that exercise are of far lower risk of severe complications with viruses, whether that be COVID-19, whether that be influenza 1. Our immune system needs to function properly.
Yes.
And that goes for everybody. And that also goes back into our nutritional standpoint. We are what we eat. If we're eating a lot of inflammatory foods, that impedes our immune system. So
absolutely,
we need to be trying to be a little more mindful of what we eat. Doesn't mean we can't have, our treats and things, but we need to be more mindful of what we're putting into our bodies and the time we spend exercising. I think there was a correlation between the increase in VO2 health versus the COVID-19 or the upper respiratory infection because it was attacking type 2 pneumocystis.
Yeah.
And so therefore, that information was really helpful in moving people forward. There we go.
John Rady actually sent me this article. He was really impressed by it. The day of our interview afterwards, he hung up and he sent this right over. And what you just said is that I'm going to send this to you. If I didn't already, I'm going to send it because you just said what it said, and that's so important. Yes. Do exercise, do cardio, get that cardiorespiratory built up so that you don't have those complications if you contract COVID.
Yeah. And I think having a exercise professional in your corner, regardless of whether you're going to be at home or not, I think if people start to learn that there's an individualized approach to fitness and that just jumping on YouTube or jumping on a thing like Daily Burn, it may have some benefits, but you could probably get a lot more benefit and a lot more individualized approach, whether it be for yourself, your wife, a couple's workout, a family workout, from a trainer or an exercise physiologist than you will from just doing something cookie cutter online.
Exactly. And we were talking earlier, I can't remember if it was after we started recording or before, but if I even write in this book that I'm almost done, really, for real, almost done writing, like maybe this week.
Awesome.
This is just a mock, but it's like, I can't wait to hold the real thing in my hand. But we talk about in that just what you said is, I'm sorry if I upset anybody, Beachbody, CrossFit, they've gotten a lot of people to move. So I think that the benefits have outweighed the consequences or injuries or whatever. But, I do have a little bit of a beef of what it takes to get certified in certain things. But I remember being in Denver with Perry Nicholson at a dinner. Well, he and I just had dinner one night. We're Googling, we're looking. I wonder how many certifications there are. Well, we stopped looking when we counted up to 50. We're like, okay, that's it. But is it interesting? Because like you could have the $89 one-day online alleged certification and take that tomorrow, a Saturday, but tonight you're a couch potato, and then go potentially injure people on Monday. But
and let me ask you, if you had somebody that was an MD and they went to school for 30 days and they're the ones that are going to be treating you, would you feel comfortable with that?
Hell no.
So when I look at the training, like you just mentioned, and something you can just take on your computer, open book for 30 days, and they're going to be working with you. And maybe you have a back injury, maybe you have type 2 diabetes, whatever it might be, and they're in charge of your well-being.
Yeah.
Run.
Exactly. Yeah. So when I've traveled and taught, when we have those, let's say, people with those certifications that are, in my opinion, extremely substandard, when they show up and they're doing a really good job, it's because they continued learning afterwards. Now, typically, and then they continue their education, and maybe they eventually went on and got, NASM, CPT, or something like that. But some of them don't. But they still have corrective exercise thing. They have all this behavior. So, there are great trainers with crappy certifications for the baseline cert, and there are some who aren't that good with some good certs. And it's usually just because it's just not their thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. Although I will say, I was telling this to Mike Clark, I think off camera the other day. When I teach in the United States in particular, the trainers who ask the best questions generally are certified by NASM. Yeah, they ask the best questions. So it's kind of cool. It's a testament to the education. So this kind of helps to segue right into another question, which is what changes. Well, we kind of talked about it, but if there's anything additional, tell me. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Any changes we need to make to keep the industry moving forward? Because I think, some people are doing quite well right now. That's great because they're adapting and they're finding ways to deliver and serve. Some are just at a halt. And it could be a bricks and mortar thing, and they can't have anybody in there, and they're canceling memberships, and they're, so how do you look at this?
I look at it from a couple of different aspects. One is going to be behavior change, because regardless of how we deliver the content, we have to be able to find a person's strengths and weaknesses and find out what their vision of their perfect self is, create vision statements, create SMART goals based around those vision statements so they can have a guide each and every week to move through. And that is why I'm so big on the whole behavior change. And it was interesting because that was one of my areas of concentration at California University at PA. Because I had already worked on the CES and the PES and those things, and I found that was interesting. And when I got into this, I was like, this is a game changer. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one thing moving forward that more trainers are really going to have to be adept at is behavior change. The second thing I would like to see happen in the industry is voluntary, not required, but voluntary licensure. So what this means is licensure is available to personal trainers in their profession if they want to go that far. And that way trainers can still, if the box gyms want to hire non-licensed professionals within their organizations, they can do that. Mm-hmm. However, if a trainer wants to take it to the next level and I want to work directly with a physical therapist, or I want to work directly under a doctor, or I want to work with an athletic trainer, or I want to work with somebody, they can do that. Being an exercise physiologist is one track to that. However, there's only been 2 certifying bodies in that to this date. And those are also not a licensed professional yet. And so I think if that's available, that's going to open up a new realm, because what the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaching did is they worked with the medical board, and they worked to directly make it a recognized behavior change platform that is accepted by the medical community. And they've already got some of the health codes done for insurance.
Right. Oh,
they're now working on the next codes. So pretty soon health and wellness coaching will be reimbursed. I'm going to guess probably within a year, especially with COVID, will be fully reimbursed by insurance, similar to a physical therapist or an ATC, etc. And I think in that realm, personal training could fit in that. Now, I do know as a wellness coach, if you have a NCCA recognized certification, you can work under any of those fields as a board certified coach. Okay. So I think that will all fit together. And I think that the medical community will embrace that when that happens.
Yeah.
And I think by giving trainers that option, we're no longer forcing somebody's hand. And we can get that moving forward.
I see how you're thinking. I really like this because look at what you're doing with TrainerEDU. Okay, you're trying to bridge from certification to application. That's the first step. You pass the test and you got to work with somebody. And if you're like me, you're really glad when they canceled.
Well, we have to have, those hours of practicum to
Yep.
become better, right?
Yeah.
You have to have it for a physical therapist, a PTA. You have to have it for a CMA,
Hmm.
a PT, and ATC. So why not have a licensure or board recognized position for personal trainers that has so many hours of practicum?
Yeah. I agree with that 100% that it's something that should be, it'd be really nice if it was required. You know, the licensure idea, the way you're talking about that, I love that. I think it's a great
Thank
idea.
you.
And kind of have a multiple thoughts going on. So I need to go back to something because I want to qualify and make sure I don't, I want to be fair. When I said CrossFit Beachbody, they got a lot of people moving, but I'm not happy that you can be no background in biomechanics or anything or anatomy and get certified through either and be a coach by Monday, right? From Friday night couch potato. I'm not happy about that. And it's led to injuries. It's led to loading dysfunction. It's led to a lot of problems. Yes, definitely has though created a movement. So, uh, that's good. It's probably better than it is. It's better that that's happening. It's just that it'd be nice now if people realize and are aware that personalization of your workouts and your programming is a thing that should be taken advantage. It should be something that they do to get optimal results. And that's where we come in, right? That's where you come in. That's where somebody with that experience comes in for whatever it is. For me, it would be Parkinson's and movement disorders, and maybe some with learning disabilities. I don't even know how to work with an athlete. I've never done it. I have no interest in it. I would refer them to you if you do that. You know what I mean? But
Right.
finding the person and individualize. It's kind of like Dr. Luigi Bacuto says, personalized medicine, personal doctor. Well, we're personal trainers, and there's a reason I think they called it personal training. And that actually was brought to my awareness by one of my mentors, Ali Prettyman, who works at the university up here. It's
Okay.
personal training. He was given it in a meeting last fall with all of us. That's why we call it this. It needs
Versus in-person
this
training.
is not a cookie cutter. We're not cookie cutter trainers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like that. So your awareness factor, well, bridging the gap from certification to application is great. The other thing that would love to see, and I've been really wanting to see this and not sure how to do it, but you just gave me some good insight, is the medical community's here, functional life for the people is here. We're in the middle, but I don't think they know we're here. I mean, they do, but they don't know the value. So that's another area. I would just love to see us being a something they are referring to all the time for the wellness of the person.
Right. I think that will come. I think our exposure, I think our conversations like this, getting this information out, getting it to the masses, getting it posted across multiple feeds, having it on, NASM's site, having it on a master trainer page, having it on Facebook, having it on YouTube, putting it on TrainerEDU. I think putting conversations like this that trainers can actually say, hey, I relate with that. I did not know that Carl Sterling had a Parkinson's regeneration training program that was out there for me to delve into, or I didn't know that James or Alex or Chris had metabolic analysis courses or had behavior change courses other than what I've seen out there that actually have live videos weekly that they can actually attend just like a classroom, or they can watch the recordings when they can't get there to get that interaction. And I think once they know that, I think it will start to emerge. And I think what's happened recently with this whole virus situation and with the push for online, I think this is going to start growing.
Yeah, I think COVID, one of the upshots of COVID, again, COVID is bad, but leaders are born during trying times. Ideas are born during challenging times. When you are forced to change, there are people who will lead the way with change. And there's a lot of changing going on right now. And some of it is the awareness and the stepping back. And it's what you just said is very powerful. It's going to change. I really feel it will. And I think this is a catalyst.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
COVID catalyst, yeah. Yep.
There's a new term, the COVID catalyst effect. You heard it here, folks. First, folks.
We coined it, man.
Yeah.
We coined it.
COVID.
COVID. So, I had a list of questions and we've gone through them. I do have a couple of things I'd like to ask you. It's not fair. I didn't tell you I was going to do this.
That's okay. I love it.
When it comes to the idea of, let's say, being successful in life, and you can also talk about it in different ways as a trainer. How do you view that? What's your perspective on it? What does it mean to you? What is success? Is there something that happens that you all of a sudden feel, feeling, and you're not coming from ego, and neither am I. So when I say this, I'm not saying, oh yeah, I'm successful, because you're not like that. But it's that heartfelt gratification of, I did it. I did something and somebody moved better, or whatever it is. How do you see success? How do you define it in your life?
Well, it's multifaceted between personal and professional. So
yes.
The way I see success is I want to be a fantastic husband to my wife. I want to teach my boys to be great men.
Mm-hmm.
I want my daughter to have a great father and know what a man is supposed to do in life.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a role model for my kids, and I want to treat others as though I'm being treated.
Mm-hmm.
On a professional level, the success is being able to reach those people and create change within their lives for the better, and be able to enjoy the fact that my education and my application made somebody's life better.
That's I'm right with you on every single point you said. And that's how I feel too. It's like we are brothers from another mother.
Yeah, man. And what's really crazy, Carl, is there are so many of us fitness professionals that are out there that feel this way.
There are. I think it's more than ever right now too.
Yeah, we really do.
That's a simple description of success. However, living those words, that takes discipline. It takes thought. It takes a heart. It takes compassion. It takes empathy. It takes, I love what you said, man. Being a role model. You're a class act. You're a gentleman, right?
Oh, thank you, sir.
You have respect for people. I have a deep respect for you, and I couldn't imagine a better role model for your kids. I mean, that's great, man.
Thanks, Carl. I appreciate it. It means a lot coming from you as well. Like I said, there's a lot of us professionals in the industry that feel this way, and especially I have to bring it up again, but my good friend Alex Van Houten has Defining Dad Bod, and that was actually based around that time when the dad bod thing came out.
Okay.
Well, the argument was, what is a dad bod? And his whole dad bod thing is based around the same things we talked about. The dad bod isn't just about being healthy and fit for your family, but it's about being a man, somebody that's based in their spirituality, and somebody that actually learns as they go. And I think all of us as fathers, as husbands, know that life didn't come with an instruction manual. And
oh no, man,
some days you're just winging it. So I think that comes from a very powerful statement. I think that's you're right on base with a lot of that. And like I said, I appreciate that coming from you, but.
Oh, well, that's how I feel, man. I saw a t-shirt the other day this guy had on. I, put on my mask and went into the pharmacy to get my blood thinners. And so he's got a thing that says, "This is not a dad bod, it's a father image."
There you go. That's right.
Funniest shirt, man. Funniest shirt. The other question I want to ask you is, before we wind down, and remember to hang on with me after we say goodbye. I want to just ask you a couple questions after we're done recording. If you had, well, whether it's a single bit of advice or it could be more than one thing, if you had advice to give people in our industry, personal trainers, if you could tell them one thing, two things, what would it be? What's your advice?
Lose the ego, continue to learn, and don't be afraid to work with other trainers in the industry, because one of the most powerful and profitable things that I have done in the past is refer out. Mm-hmm. In one of my other companies that I owned, I used to refer out to two other professionals that were in this exact same business.
Yeah.
When I was busy, I referred to them. Mm-hmm. When they were busy, they referred to me. Mm-hmm. We never did any advertising. We stayed so busy between word of mouth and our own referrals and our own database that we didn't have to. Mm-hmm. And I have done the same thing with other trainers. And there are other trainers that are out there that have the same professionalism, the same background, that are willing to work with you and not try to stab you in the back for $10. It's there. And I think that if you're willing to be vulnerable, if you're willing to learn, and you're willing to share, the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing you said there, the first thing about lose the ego, that's important, man. Don't be a chump out there, with a chip on your shoulder. People generally don't like that. And I think it's part of the reason some people are intimidated to get a trainer. So maybe that's all they've seen. Yesterday, so I do interviews mostly with people in our industry. However, because that is my focus in life. I mean, I'm really, really wanting to learn and then share it with other people. Sure. That's why I do these things. But I also do interviews with musicians who've been like my idols. Yesterday, I was talking with a gentleman named Jerry Brown, one of my favorite drummers. I've been listening to him since 1976. He's played, Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie, George Benson. He's been with Diana Ross for over 20 years. He's still with her, so when she tours at some point, he'll be out. What a nice guy. But one of the things he said, and I think that because of where we're at age-wise, our generation, people skills are so important, and you have them because you created relationships and you started referring. Your ego didn't get in the way, and you know what, I'm busy, or maybe I don't know how I wouldn't be good for them. I refer out, but that's because you also have people skills and you create relationships, and it's very important for our business to have good people skills, and especially with the clients, and listen to their ask for their feedback if they're the quiet type and they don't want to tell you anything. How are you feeling? How does that feel? But people skills are huge.
Yeah, it is. And I think really there are so many trainers that want to have those kind of relationships with other trainers. Yeah. And I just haven't seen it happen. And on a scale, there's probably some place that trainers are doing that now. I would not be surprised because we're not of the singular mindset. There are a lot of other trainers that have a similar mindset. Some have just been burned so bad in the past, they don't want to go back down that road. But sometimes that's where you have, a local association of business professionals, trainers, and networking with other companies. Like, you know what, if you've got a local guy that has a nutrition shop, or you have a local sporting goods store, partner with them.
Yeah. Look what Mike Clark is partnering with so many people, right?
Oh,
And that's a guy who's so humble. There's no ego there. He
he's an
doesn't
awesome
really,
guy. I
he
have
doesn't
the
even really like to, he's kind of shy. Like, and you've seen him in person and he's kind of,
Yeah, very, very mild mannered, very well spoken, great
yeah,
individual. I had the privilege of speaking with him on a couple different occasions, and a wealth of knowledge.
yeah.
Doesn't belittle you for asking a question. And Brent Brookbush was the same way. Was a great guy to work with. You worked with him more than anybody I've known. So there's a lot of professionals out there. They have knowledge so far up here, but they don't let that take them over. They're very humble people.
Yeah, and that people skills thing, the relationship building and the partnering is, that advice is great. Yeah, partner. So I have to go back because I'm famous for going off on a tangent and not making my point, which brings me to another book, Driven to Distraction. That defines me at certain times, also written by John Rady. But the reason I said that is because why did I even mention Jerry Brown, the drummer? It's because we had a conversation about people skills. So I kind of want to just make sure I tie this in. And again, he's in his 60s. We're 50s, I think. I don't know how old you are. I'm 59, but it's people skills are so important. And I know in this generation of young trainers, and I'm not judging, but at the university when they're going through the kinesiology program and they're doing their training on the floor and they're 20, 21 years old, do you know how to talk? Because they're not, and I get it because they're 20. I don't know if I could have been a trainer at 20. I'm not sure. I was pretty good with people skills, but I mean, he got gigs with these famous people because of he's a true gentleman, so humble, so much humility. And he has people skills. He looks in the eye when he talks with you. He's not looking away and mumbling. And people skills are paramount.
Yeah. And I always like to say I'm 54 going on 24.
I'm 59. I'm going on like 25. This new hip, man, I'll tell you, I can't even believe how well I am moving. And I love it. I'm
You look
grateful.
good, man, and you look good, and everything's going well, and you're moving well, and I think there's something to be said for staving off pain and getting through that to get our bodies back to normal.
Sometimes surgery is the answer, and I put it off. I put it off. Sometimes people have bone on bone and there's no pain. I was the opposite. I was actually starting to fall down because walking was so hard. So, I got it done and I'm grateful. So it's really cool.
My orthopedic surgeon loves me. I get quantity discount.
Oh man.
You
Well,
tear your body up when you're young. My elders used to tell me when I was 25, quit lifting, doing this. You're gonna whatever. You're Superman. You're invincible. And then you get our age, and you're going, remember that time? You should have
oh
that
yeah.
motorcycle off that cliff into that lake.
Oh man. Because I know I'll forget. I just sent you that exercise thing on a Facebook Messenger. So
Awesome.
but so I know, yeah, that the past can come and get us. It can take many years or decades for an injury to show up somewhere, somehow else. But yeah, listen to, I guess another point I would say, listen to your body because your body will tell you stuff.
And not always what you want to hear.
No, exactly. Yeah. Listen, man, it's been a pleasure. It's really good to connect with you. We got to talk more often, just off camera too, and just talk.
Yeah, this has been fun. I've really enjoyed it, and it's been nice to catch up and see a friendly face and just talk through some different points. It's been enjoyable.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. As always, my respect for you is as deep as it can get because you're doing great things, man.
Well, thank you. Back at you.
And it comes from your heart too. That's the most important thing. Well, good. Well, James Westphal, thank you so much. I hope listeners, watchers, I hope you enjoyed it. I really got a lot out of this, and I can't wait to see you at some point in the future.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and have a fantastic day.
All right. Later.